people, it's me, Anya. My pronouns are she and her, and welcome back to my channel for a new original book tag. Today's book tag is the Amanda Foody book tag because, like Lebo Dugo, Amanda Foody is one of my favorite authors. And honestly, I pre-filmed this video yesterday, but I had to refilm it because the rain was a little bit too distracting. But now it has stopped raining, so we love to see it. Anyway, the first question on this list is Daughter of the Burning City. Name your favorite fantasy standalone. I have so many favorite fantasy standalones that I've made full videos talking about them. So one of those favorites is the Starless Sea. This book is so fantastic. It's an adult fantasy and it was one of my favorites last year. And it basically follows a young university student who finds the Starless Sea, which is this underground maze of a library, which I think is so cool. And it was so fascinating and it was so amazing. And it's just so fantastic and it's absolutely worth all of its hype and so much more. So with that, I would highly recommend it. Like I mentioned, it is an adult fantasy, so it's not YA. But at any rate, it is really good. I rarely read adult books, but this book was absolutely so worth it. So yeah, there you have it. The second question is Ace of Shades. Name your favorite fantasy book with a queer POC main character. Because if you didn't know, the main character of Ace of Shades is a queer black character. So we love to see it. I've read so many. Actually, that's not true. I was about to say I've read so many fantasy books with queer POC main characters, but I actually haven't. I've read more contemporaries like that, but I have a book that comes to mind, and that is The Never Tilting World. This book is so good. It's a YA fantasy book that follows 4 main characters. They're all so distinct, and they're all Asian, and half of them are sapphic, so we love to see it. This book is a fantastic, wonderful story that, like I said, follows 4 distinct main characters, and I love them all. And 2 of them, well, they're all trying to fix their broken world, which I know is a very vague synopsis, but I don't know how else to sell it to you. So basically, this book is literally so good, and it's so underrated, and it deserves so much more hype. So with that, I would highly recommend it. I love doing book tags because it's literally another way to just recommend books, which is something that I do all the time, obviously. So anyway, the next question is Shadow Game Trilogy. Name your favorite underrated trilogies. I've read so many underrated trilogies that honestly this question was kind of hard to pin down, but one of my favorite underrated trilogies is, of course, the Riddle trilogy by Traci Chee. Traci Chee is such an underrated author. I love her books literally so much. So if you didn't know, the Riddle trilogy is a YA fantasy starring an all-Asian cast, if I'm not mistaken. I know for sure that the main character is Asian as well as her love interest, but anyway, it's set in a world where reading is unheard of, and follows a young girl who goes on a mission to figure out how her aunt's kidnapping is related to her parents' brutal murders. So that's fun. Or honestly, if they're related at all. But anyway, this book is literally so good. I cannot fathom a world where reading is unheard of because I feel like I would not be able to survive. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think I would be able to survive if I knew what reading was and everybody else didn't. Like, if I didn't know what reading was and I was in a world where reading is unheard of, I would be able to survive because I wouldn't know what I was missing out on. But if I did know what I was missing out on, like, I wouldn't be able to survive. You know what I mean? Like, I cannot fathom a world where reading doesn't exist because, like, how would people communicate? Would writing also be out as well? Because if you can't read, and reading is completely unheard of, then what's the point of writing? How do people communicate? Just through spoken word? Like, how about people who don't speak? Like, what about the mute disabled community? How would that look? Anyway, I'm getting too heated. But the point is, this trilogy is literally so good. Traci Chee is a genius. So please read her books. This trilogy is so good. So, yeah. Anyway, the next question is the Accidental Apprentice. Name your favorite middle grade debut book. I've read so many great middle grade books. Like, literally reading middle grade is my brand because I love middle grade so much. So one of my favorite middle-grade debut books is a book that I read at the beginning of this year, and it's called Clues to the Universe. Honestly, I don't really remember what this book is about. I really don't. I know that it's friendship driven and it's really good and it deserves all of its hype and so much more, but I really don't remember the plot of it. Like, I don't remember anything. I just know that it's friendship driven and it's really good, and I highly recommend it. I do remember that the main character, at least one of the main characters, and the author are both Asian, so we love to see it. So yeah, like I said, I highly recommend it. So yeah. The next question is, all of his villains. Name your favorite co-authored book. After I read all of his villains, because I know that I'm going to absolutely love it, I'm planning a video where I talk about my favorite co-authored books. So I already have a list in my head. So one of my favorites is indeed Punching the Air. This book is absolutely so fantastic, and it's worth all of its hype and so much more. It's a YA contemporary following a young black Muslim boy who gets wrongfully incarcerated, which I think is such an important, timely topic, because I know that there's so many people of color who get wrongfully incarcerated and they don't receive the justice that they deserve. So I think this book was so fantastic and it was so well done, and I highly recommend it. So yeah. The next question is Jelly Bean, whom, if you didn't know, is Amanda Foody's cat. This is a picture of the both of them. Like, he's so cute. And typically I would say that he deserves the world, but technically he already has the world because Amanda Foody is his owner, you know? So anyway, the question is, name your favorite fictional animal companion from a book. So I would definitely say the Phoenixes from Crown of Feathers. I love this book so much. It's another YA fantasy that follows a young girl who disguises herself as a boy to join the Phoenix Riders, which are basically these people who ride phoenixes. I don't know why I just said that. The name Phoenix Riders is literally so self-explanatory. But anyway, the point is that this story is so much more than that. It's literally so good. The world building, the plot, the characters, the romances. This book is so good. And again, it's another underrated trilogy, and I highly recommend it. So yeah. The last question, but certainly not the least, is called Amanda Foody. Name your favorite author. So I have many favorite authors. If you didn't know, Leigh Bardugo is one of my favorite authors. Amanda Foody, don't know if you've heard of her, is one of my favorite authors. Traci Chee, don't know if you've heard of her, is also one of my favorite authors. I love them so much. I think that they're such genius people, and I would love to meet them, and I would love to get writing advice from them, even though compared to them, my writing is literally rubbish. But anyway, with that said, that's the end of the Amanda Foody book tag. If you're interested, I tag you too. So yeah, if you enjoyed this book tag, please don't hesitate to give this video a big thumbs up. Comment down below the egg emoji if you made it all the way to the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel if you're new, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.